الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, all praise is due to Allah, and His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad and the rest of the prophets and the messengers until the day of judgment. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new episode of your program, The Robe That Binds Us, ahlusunnah waljama'aah. We're still talking about the concept of imamah or leadership in Islam. And we also talked about the different categories of imamah, different categories of leadership and different type of leadership. And we said last episode that there is a general imamah, which we call it the khilafah or the caliph, or the general leader of the Muslims. And also we said that this can be absent and sometimes in the history of Islam, or maybe in the modern days, but still there is something called the partial imamah, or imam al-juz'iyya, where an imam will be a leader of one society or one country or one region, and he will become the leader of this society, and he will take the roles of the leader in a Muslim society, and he will take also the rights of the Khalifa. And I said there is a difference between the general imamah and the partial imamah. We mentioned several differences between them. Today I would like to talk about the way that imamah can be established. Yes, the ways of establishing the imamah. First way, nomination. That the people, the leaders of the Muslim community, will nominate individuals, certain individual, and after they nominate these individuals that they will choose from them, then the mass public will also accept them. Is this the same concept of elections that we see in modern days? It's a little bit different than the general election. General elections, it's based on the mass public will choose from those who run for the leadership position. In Islam, first, we don't recommend people to run for leadership positions. Actually, the Prophet ﷺ said that those who are so worried about being leaders, who run after leadership position, we should not give it to them. We should not help them to gain that position. But it's allowed to nominate yourself. It's allowed to say that I can be a leader, I can take the role, I can take a leadership position in the society if you think you can do that. But it's not to be your goal just to be a leader. Because leadership position in Islam is not an honorary thing. It's not, we're not honoring you by putting you a leader of the Muslims. Actually, we're giving you more responsibility that you will be asked about it in the day of judgment. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, anyone will be a leader of 10 people, he will come in the day of judgment and his hand tied to his neck. If he was just, his justice will set him free. And if he was not just, unjust ruler, his injustice will lead him to the hellfire. That's why the Prophet ﷺ also said in another hadith that leadership, when people think about leadership or look at the leadership, he said in the beginning it became like something people are interested in, and it looks like an interesting job to be a leader. But the Prophet ﷺ said in a little bit people will feel, when they feel the responsibility, they will realize how heavy responsibility is to be a leader of a Muslim. Then the Prophet ﷺ said also, in the day of judgment, people will regret that position. They will wish that like any average person who will not be judged about others. Imagine you will be judged about your actions, but our leaders will be judged about their actions and about also the people they used to lead. And about if they have provided to them or not. That's why you see the righteous leader, that position scared them to death, that they did everything possible to secure a good life for their community and for their people. That's why it's very important for the leaders of the Muslim, anybody in any leadership position, to realize the responsibility on his shoulder by being in charge. Either he is in charge of the whole Muslims, society or country, or he's in charge of a specific task or a specific area in the Muslim community. And also, by the way, for those who live as a minority in a country or a non-Muslim country, always in communities like who live in America or in Europe, Australia, or any other country, they come and they elect among them leader to represent the society in these countries. This leadership position also, it's very important position. It will not take the role of the imamah that we talk about, but it's a leadership position and it's a responsibility on their shoulder. People should not just be happy to be leaders, they should be worried if they became leader, worry about themselves if they fulfill the rights toward that position or not. Anyway, going back to our subject about the way of establishing the imamah, nomination. So it's people will elect their imam. They will elect their imam. They will choose the imam. Exactly like what happened with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu ardah. The Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, after the Prophet ﷺ passed away, in the same day actually, as one of the Sahaba said, we don't want to sleep one night without jama'ah, without a leader who leading the Muslim. So the Muslim gathered in Saqifat Bani Sa'ida. They gathered all of them in a Saqifat Bani Sa'ida, a place for a tribe from Al-Ansar, from Medina. And a discussion started by the leaders of the Muslims, the leaders of the Muhajirin, and the leaders of the Ansar. Then after the discussion, Umar radiallahu anh and people nominated Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anh, because the Prophet ﷺ asked him to lead the prayer while the Prophet ﷺ was sick, and he ordered him to lead the prayer. And that's an indication that Abu Bakr will lead after the Prophet ﷺ. Also, a woman came to the Prophet ﷺ when he was sick, and she said, Ya Rasulullah, if I come and I didn't see you, who should I go to? He said, go to Abu Bakr. Go to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Anyway, when his name was nominated, Al-Ansar and Al-Muhajirin, all of them agree on Abu Bakr, and they give him their allegiance and they choose him to be the Khalifa, So the first way, it could be nomination, and people will accept that nomination which is given by some of the leaders of the Muslim, and they will elect or they will choose the Khalifa after that. The second way, appointment. To appoint a Khalifa or a leader to lead the Muslims, or similar to it, the monarchy way of leading the society, like a kingdom. To appoint somebody, it's exactly like Abu Bakr and Umar. If you noticed, when Abu Bakr radiallahu anh passed away, he did not give a space or give the Muslims choices. He did not give them like 2 or 3 or 4, or the Muslims did not come and nominate several people to that position. Actually, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq appointed Umar to be the leader after him. And the Muslim accepted that, and he became the Khalifa. And he became the Khalifa of the Muslims. The monarchy way of leading the country, it's also acceptable in Islam. And since Muawiyah radiallahu anhu ardah, since in the early time of Islam, there were kings in Islam. The point is not about being king or not. The point is about how you rule your people. Do you rule them with justice? Do you rule them? Do they accept that person who's been appointed? Like, let's say if there's a monarchist system, but the leader of the Muslims or the community or the society don't want that person to lead. They have the right to impeach that person. They have the right to say, no, you cannot be the leader. Or we don't want you to lead because you don't deserve, and somebody else has to lead the Muslim because he's better. In this case, they will break the system and will choose somebody else. Monarchy system anyway, or al-Malakiyya, or being kings, some people think that it is un-Islamic way of ruling 100%. It's not maybe the best way of choosing the imamah, but Islamically it is correct and it's acceptable, and it used to be the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the children of Israel to follow. The children of Israel used to be ruled by the monarchy system. Whenever a king will die, another king from his family or his children, grandchildren will lead after him. This is the prophets and the kings of children of Israel. This is the way it used to be. So it was some time in the history of humanity, a system was chosen by Allah to people. And as I said, you see today in recent days have been developed in some countries to be, there is a monarchy system, but not necessarily they are involved in the political system in the country. They will have ministers and prime ministers who lead the country. These areas is left to the people to choose how they want their system to be led or to be controlled. The point, whoever in that position, he must be a person who meet these two ultimate goals of imamah. He provide or he can establish the religious goals and the worldly goals. Also by force. And Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala and others said, the person who will take the leadership position by force, he will be sinful for his action. If somebody fight and kill people in the process until he became leader, that's a sin. And this is forbidden and it's not allowed. But let's happen after this fight happened, one person took over and have a control of the country. Do we ask for another fight to happen, another killing? No, of that person who became in charge later on, established the justice and change his way and provide the society with the ultimate goals of imamah, the religious and the worldly goals, and things goes smoothly after that, he will become an eligible imam or leader for the Muslims. This is basically the ways of establishing the imamah. This is the way of establishing the imamah in Islam. This is the most common ways, and it said the best one is the first one. By understanding this, also understand that the democratic way, or this now everybody talk about spreading democracy in the Muslims world, or teaching Muslims about democracy, and they talk about how they elect their presidents or their imams. We see that the first way, which is to nominate a Khalifa or to select or to elect the Khalifa, that system or leader for the Muslim exists in Islam. But the problem comes from us that we don't implement or we don't apply what we have in our religion, in our life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to be able to apply what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have sent down to us in His book and through His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our daily life. And here, inshallah, it comes to the conclusion of this episode, and I will see you, inshallah, in the near future with another subject. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.